Welcome to Nightmares and Grief, a place to explore and celebrate the darkness. Each episode, I'll read stories written by me, Derek Heisey. So settle in, check under the bed, and pour a drink for the skeletons in your closet. It's time to start. The Arithmetic of Vengeance.
The desert is hot. It bakes us in the Humvee like a roast chicken. It's too hot. It's all I can think about. A bead of sweat escapes the band of my helmet and rolls down my cheek all the way down into my collar. "Fuck!" Mitch groans beside me. "It's hot. I can't even think." I scoff. "They don't make these uniforms for comfort." Mitch shakes his head. "No, they do not." Sometimes I think he and I are synced. He understands me before I do sometimes. It's like we're twins separated at birth. Not even my girlfriend gets me the way Mitch does. "What's the word about Michelle? How's she handling the redeployment?" Like I said, synced. I grimace. Family therapy time. "She's not taking it," I reply. "You two still fighting?" I rub the steering wheel with my thumb, gazing into the desert beyond. With a huge sigh, I mutter, "Yeah, pretty much." I gaze up at the ceiling. "How do you think Matt's doing up there?" Mitch chuckles and shakes his head. "Not great, I bet." He understands my diversion and doesn't press. "It's hot," I repeat. "Damn hot," he answers. Sun's probably roasting him like a Thanksgiving turkey. "Hey, I ever tell you about the time I tried deep frying a turkey?" He doesn't get to finish. The steering wheel twists and my brain can't process what's happening. I am vaguely aware of a loud sound and the sensation of G-force pushing and spinning me in my seat. I hear Mitch's yell from 1,000 yards away. I don't know what he's saying. It sounds panicked. I realize I'm hanging upside down, and Mitch slices off my seatbelt. I know now what must have happened. IED, right outside the village. Ambush. They open fire. We clamber out of the Humvee, greeted by a hailstorm of bullets and Matt's mangled corpse, half crushed by the overturned vehicle. Bullets narrowly miss my head, embedding into the Humvee behind me, and I fall to my knees to make myself as small as possible, taking cover behind the busted driver's side door. The window is cracked, and I burst it open with the butt of my rifle so I can send a volley of suppressing fire toward where I think the shooters are. More bullets embed themselves in the door. I fire back, scanning the village for places hostiles might be hiding behind like it's the deadliest game of whack-a-mole. One of them peeks their head up over the half-wall barrier, and I'm really good at this, so even though I plant a few slugs in the wall, I get the son of a bitch square in the head before he has a chance to duck below. "Nice one!" Mitch calls from the other side of the Humvee. "4 more to go." He's interrupted by the high-pitched ping of slugs and metal, and a string of the foulest obscenities gushes from his lips. I track down the one who has him pinned. From my angle, he's exposed. From Mitch's, there's no way he's getting a good shot. He goes down like a heavy sack of trash. That's what he is. That's what all these insurgents are. Trash. My lead is on garbage duty. "Thanks, pimp," Mitch calls. He returns the favor by shooting out the legs of a hostile on the roof. The piece of shit falls forward off the hovel and cracks his face against another half wall. That one's just for fun. When my eyes drift away from the corpse, I see the woman. She's pinned down behind a wall, praying, stuck in the eye of a hurricane of bullets. She clutches her arm and her hand is smeared with blood. I check my zones. I can get her. I can save her. Gritting my teeth, I dive into the open space between the Humvee's cover and the half wall where the first trash bag I took out hid behind. Bullets whiz around me, and I feel one pull at the fabric on my shoulder, barely missing the flesh. I fire blindly in the direction the bullets come from. A pot shot, and I hear a yowl. Lucky shot. I seem to get lucky a lot. I scoop the woman up in one arm with the rifle. She screams, probably because of the noise and the pain, writhing in my grip. She must be so scared. She must be so confused. All she knows is that people are in her village, shooting each other and blowing shit up. My heart goes out to her. We take out all the hostiles in the area. Either that or they book it. Either way, the shooting stops. The woman cowers in the shade of the gutted Humvee, curled into herself, refusing even to make eye contact with me. Mitch joins us. He tries to inspect her wounds, but like a frightened animal, she recoils as he approaches. She's apprehensive when I try, but she lets me. At last, she makes eye contact. There is something deep, frightened, and frightening in her gaze. It doesn't go away when the APC picks us up. Even though she's still clearly frightened of me, she insists on staying close. Her gaze darts to me, like she's debating something. At last, midway through the journey back to the base in the outlying hospital, she reaches into her shirt. We all immediately train our rifles on her, but she only pulls out a chain strung around her neck. On it hangs a massive, heavy ring. She presses it into my hand and says something I don't understand. It's not any of the local dialects. I speak those, and I can't tell if it's one of the languages from a neighboring country, but I assume it is. She's silent for the rest of the trip, eyes trained on the floor. I guess the ring is a present for saving her. I don't know where she got it from. It's inscribed with a circle and a square, decorated with smaller circles and a weird squiggle that reminds me of a snake coiled around a lance. I put it in my pocket. It's huge. I can't wear it, let alone her with her tiny, delicate fingers. No wonder she wears it on a chain. It must have belonged to a husband or a father or a brother, maybe some other man. I've never met a woman with fingers big enough to wear that ring. I've never even met a man big enough to wear it. It must be important to her. I'm touched. She gives it to me. We get her to the hospital. I check her in personally. On the way back to base, Mitch teases me that I already have a girlfriend, that Michelle wouldn't be happy if she knew I was accepting rings from strange women. I tell him to knock it off. There is something special about her. Something different. I think about her eyes, and then I realize what I saw there. Power. The ring's getting heavier. Not the metal itself. The damn thing probably weighs less than my dog tags, but something else. Something that settles into my bones like shrapnel you can't dig out. I catch myself rolling my shoulders during briefings like the chains cutting grooves into my neck. Lieutenant Kozlov drones on about supply routes and casualty estimates, and I'm sitting there stroking the ring through my shirt, fingers tracing those weird symbols while he talks. 15 enemy KIA, 33 prisoners processed. The numbers don't feel like numbers anymore. They feel like problems solved. Complications handled. There's a satisfaction in the math that sits warm in my chest, right where the ring hangs. Michelle's latest letter is still sitting in my footlocker. Purple ink. She always uses purple ink for the important stuff. Inside are probably more questions about when I'm coming home, why my voice sounds different on the phone, why I don't call as much as I used to. I meant to open it yesterday. And the day before that. The ring gets warm against my chest when I look at the envelope, like it's I don't know, like it's telling me something. So I slide the letter under a stack of ammo requisition forms and tell myself I'll deal with it tomorrow. Tomorrow, when the numbers make more sense. The siren. God, the siren. It rips me out of sleep. A jagged shriek tearing through the barracks. Before my brain can even catch up, a thump hits deep and heavy, rattling the cot right under me. I'm on my feet, fumbling for my boots in the dark. All around, the barracks explode. Shouts, curses, the frantic clatter of gear, every man scrambling. "What the hell is that?" someone yells. His voice is raw, fear-choked. I don't need to ask. The smell hits me first. Acrid smoke already seeping through the vents, mixing with the metallic tang of fear. It is in the air, thick. I strap on my vest, grab my rifle, and join the flood. We all pour out, a river of armed men, all flowing one way toward the medical wing. The hospital. It's a goddamned inferno. Flames lick the sky, greedy and orange, painting the pre-dawn black. Firefighting teams are already there, tiny figures silhouetted against the roar, but they are losing. You can see it. The heat is immense, even from a distance, pressing down on you like a physical weight. Hours crawl by. The sun finally starts to climb, casting a grim, smoky light over the base. They finally get the fire under control. But the hospital, just a charred husk. Then the numbers come in. 15 dead. It's a gut punch. I stand there amidst the debris. The smell of burnt flesh, scorched metal, it clings to everything, to me. My mind reels. I just checked her in hours ago, the woman. A medic, his face streaked with soot and exhaustion, finds me.
"Hey, Brady, you the one who brought in that woman, right? Arm wound?"
I nod, a knot tightening in my stomach. "Yeah, is she..." He shakes his head slowly.
"She's gone. But that's not the half of it. We have a survivor, a nurse from the ward next to hers. She says the woman caused it."
I stare at him. Disbelief wrestles with a cold, creeping dread. "Caused what? The fire?"
"The explosion,"
the medic corrects, his voice hushed like he's afraid of the words.
"Says she was speaking some crazy language, waving her hands around like she conjured it out of thin air."
The words hit me. It all clicks into place with a sickening certainty. Nausea churns in my gut. I brought this here. I saved her, and she brought death. Smoke from the burning wreckage curls in sinuous patterns that seem almost deliberate, spiraling upward like something serpentine seeking purchase in the sky. Later that day, Mitch finds me staring blankly at the ruined hospital, a blank wall in my head. "Brady," he says, his voice softer than I'd ever heard it. "Don't beat yourself up, man. You couldn't have known." I just shake my head. Can't even form the words for the black guilt burgeoning in my heart. I brought a killer into our midst. "You did the best you could with the information you had," Mitch insists, his hand on my shoulder. "No one could have predicted this. It's war, man. Sometimes bad things happen, even when you try to do good." His words are supposed to comfort. They ring hollow in my heart. I'm hungry all the goddamn time now. Not regular hungry, not the empty gut feeling you get from skipping chow or living on MREs. This is something deeper, like there's a cavern inside my ribs that echoes when I move. I find myself hitting the mess hall at weird hours, charming extra helpings from Sergeant Reynolds with war stories that just flow out of me like I've been telling them my whole life.
"Shit, Brady,"
Reynolds says, dumping a third scoop of beef stew into my tray. "You eating for two or something?" I grin, and the expression feels wider than it should. "All this desert air, Sergeant, makes a man work up an appetite." But it's not just the food. Standing watch at night, I'm cataloging everything. Shadows between buildings, fields of fire, distance measurements that come to me like muscle memory. The ring pulses against my chest while I count, keeping time with thoughts that feel increasingly tactical. 15 meters to the motor pool, 45 to the command tent, 150 to the perimeter. Tactical knowledge flows through me like inherited memory, flanking routes I've never scouted, weak points and defenses I've never studied. The information arrives fully formed as if some ancient strategist whispers battlefield wisdom across centuries. Mitch notices first. "You're different, brother," he says, watching me strip and clean my rifle with movement so precise I could probably do it blindfolded. "Sharper. Like, you're seeing shit the rest of us miss." My hands pause on the cleaning rod. Under the fluorescent light, it looks less like maintenance equipment and more like something else. Something with purpose beyond its intended function. My rifle feels balanced in my hands like a lance, and for a moment I understand something about ancient battles, about standards carried into impossible odds. I tell him, "Just paying attention," then resume the methodical motions. Details matter out here. 17 strokes for the barrel, 23 for the bolt assembly. Numbers that feel significant in ways I can't explain. The ring thrums against my sternum, approving. The attack on the hospital shakes the base to its core. I don't think anybody is unaffected. A dark shroud descends over everyone. The mess hall is dead quiet. You can hear the scraping of knives on plates, it's so quiet. Usually it's full of racket and guys screwing around, but now it feels like a damn funeral. So, the base holds a vigil. It's not really our style, but people need to grieve. They set it up in the chapel tent. Folding chairs in uneven rows, a couple of battery-powered candles on a makeshift table up front. Someone prints out photos of the victims on regular copy paper and tapes them to a piece of plywood. 15 faces stare back at us. Nurses, doctors, a kid who can't be more than 19. The chaplain finds some fake flowers from somewhere, probably the PX, and arranges them in an empty ammo crate. It feels wrong. Too small. Too improvised. These people deserve better than a goddamn tent and some plastic flowers. The chaplain speaks first. His voice echoes funny off the canvas walls. He reads their names, each one like a punch to my gut. When he gets to silence, you can hear generators humming outside, the distant rumble of trucks. Even in mourning, the base keeps running. People start sharing stories. Medic talks about Dr. Hassan, how he worked 18-hour shifts without complaint. A nurse remembers how Specialist Martinez made jokes to keep patients calm. Real people. People with families back home. People who came here to help. My throat catches and my eyes burn a little. I grit my teeth to crush the guilt. Absent-mindedly, I slip my hand into my pocket, hoping to find something to fidget with. I find the ring. The metal is warm, too warm. As my fingers close around it, something shifts inside my chest. Not quite pain, not quite pleasure. The ring's heat moves like something serpentine beneath my skin, coiling through my consciousness and finding purchase in virgin territory. For a split second, the faces on those memorial photos look different. Less like victims, more like tragic but acceptable losses. Each name the chaplain continues to read should feel like a knife. Instead, I find myself calculating. 15 deaths? How many insurgents does that justify? What ratio balances the scales? The thoughts come unbidden, settling into my bones like some ancient arithmetic of vengeance. Leaning closer to Mitch, eyes locked in front, I whisper, "This is fucked." He nods. I was just thinking the same thing. How much longer do you think we have in this hellhole? I turn to look at Mitch now, studying his reaction. He grimaces. Too long. Not if I have anything to do about it. Mitch scoffs a little. What are you going to do about it? I look forward again, hesitating, letting the thoughts cook for a little before finally saying, "We can crush them." How? Mitch asks. I stare into the flat paper eyes of the photos lined up on the table. Did they show mercy? Mitch shakes his head. No, they didn't. Then why should we? For a moment, I imagine the entire country empty and desolate. I imagine it silent except for the bugs and the wind. I visualize the desert glassed by a nuclear bomb. The ring grows warmer against my chest, and the fantasy feels less like horror and more like possibility. I push it back. That's too much. We can do our part to end things, I say to Mitch. He seems to understand. Of course he does. He understands me perfectly. No prisoners, he says. No regrets, I immediately add. I thumb the design on the ring in my pocket, then take out my dog tags. I string the heavy ring alongside them. The metal burns pleasant and warm against my skin. To Mitch, I say, I swear to you that I will do everything in my power to end things. No matter how bad it gets, no matter how nasty it makes me. This, I say, gesturing slightly to the memorial before us, can never happen again. It shouldn't. It won't. Mitch sighs through his nose. Even if we go against orders? I snort, maybe a little too loud. Someone shifts in the row ahead of me like they want to turn and look but thinks better of it. I lean in closer to Mitch and whisper, "They'll never know from their air-conditioned command centers. We're the ones risking our asses. Let's make it worth it." His eyes gleam as he considers my proposal. He stares off into faraway possibilities, and for a moment, I think I see the same violence dance inside his pupils that cavorts in my own mind's eye. Something predatory and hungry that I've awakened in him. something that recognizes what I am becoming. "All right," he says at last. "I swear." The paperwork breeds like fucking rabbits. After action reports stack up on my desk in neat piles, each one documenting encounters that read like statistical impossibilities. Enemy surrender rates 300% above theater average. Intelligence acquisition rated exceptional by division. Casualty ratios that make the brass request verification, then verification of the verification. I type each report with deliberate precision, my fingers moving over the keyboard like I'm defusing a bomb. The language of military bureaucracy flows out of me effortlessly, transforming blood and chaos into digestible data points, rendering the messy reality of combat into clean columns of numbers. Hostile forces neutralized, 45. Friendly casualties, 0. Intelligence value, high. Operational assessment, successful. The ring rests warm against my chest while I work. Sometimes, when the fluorescent lights flicker just right, the words on the screen seem to glow. Like the reports themselves carry weight beyond their informational content.
Colonel Vance materializes at my cubicle, coffee steaming in his hands. "Hell of a thing, Brady. These numbers..." He trails off, studying the printouts with an expression that shifts between admiration and something that might be unease. "Division wants to know if your methods can be documented. Training material." I save my work with a soft click. "Some methods don't translate to classroom instruction," I say carefully. "Personal touch." Vance nods slowly, his gaze lingering on my desk. The stack of reports seems taller than it should be, and for a moment we both stare at the impossible mathematics of my efficiency. "Keep up the outstanding work, Sergeant." I smile, the expression carved from granite. "Always do, sir." The ring pulses once, and I realize I've been unconsciously counting his footsteps. 30 to my desk, 30 back to the door. Everything becomes numbers now. The desert sun beats down, relentless, even in the early morning. It is a different kind of heat today, though. A heavy, suffocating blanket that has nothing to do with the temperature and everything to do with the cargo we are escorting. 15 flag-draped caskets, lined up in the back of the transport trucks behind us. 15 silent reminders of what we swore to do. Mitch and I are leading the caravan, our Humvee kicking up dust ahead of the procession. The silence between us is thick, broken only by the rumble of the engine and the crackle of the comms. He is quiet too, probably replaying the vigil, the faces of the dead. Or maybe just thinking about the promise we made. I dream about it. Mitch gets into the top bunk and I sit on the edge of mine. I can't shake the images of what I do from my mind. Or maybe I don't. In the hours since I made the promise with Mitch, scenes of unspeakable violence settle in my mind like sand at the bottom of a still lake back home. As I lie down to sleep, I sink my feet into that sand and let it squelch between my toes. The dreams come like fragments of a life I never lived, yet somehow remember. Blood,
Darkness, the sound of something moving just beyond perception. The dreams come like fragments of a life I never lived, yet somehow remember. Blood, darkness, the sound of something moving just beyond perception. I wake up with my hands clenched, fingernails digging into my palms. Trauma doesn't leave you. It settles into your bones, becomes a part of your cellular memory. I think about all the explosions, all the gunfire, all the death I've ever experienced. In the Humvee, I reach up, my fingers brushing against the heavy metal of the ring. It is cool against my skin all night, just a piece of metal. But now, as we drive, I feel a subtle warmth emanating from it, a faint hum against my sternum. Not unpleasant, just present. Pulsing, like the second heartbeat in your thumb. Pull it out, letting it dangle from the chain. The morning light catches it, but then it glows. A faint, almost imperceptible light like a dying ember. It isn't bright, not yet, but it is there, alive. My breath hitches. Stop, I say, my voice flat, barely above the engine noise. Mitch glances over, frowning. What? Why? We're on schedule, man. Just stop, I growl. The ring flares hot in my grip, and suddenly I know something is coming, something that has been waiting. The knowledge doesn't come as thought, it carves itself directly into my bones, settling there like muscle memory. Mitch, stop, now. Mitch hesitates, then sighs, slowing the Humvee. What the hell, Brady? Are you seeing something? He peers through the dusty windshield. He brings the vehicle to a halt, and the long line of trucks behind us follows suit, their brakes hissing. All right, we're stopped. He splays his fingers on the wheel, like a shrug of his hands. Now what? He turns, eyes falling on the ring. Even behind his sunglasses, I can see them bulge. Holy shit, is that glowing? As he speaks, the ring flares, not a faint ember anymore. It pulses with a vibrant, angry red hot against my palm. The heat spreads through my chest, not painful but unrelenting. I feel something shift inside me, not quite pain, not quite pleasure, something primal, awakening. Then, from the low hills flanking the road, they emerge. A flood of figures, some on foot, others riding small, dusty ATVs and a battered Jeep, dark against the dusty landscape, weapons glinting in the oppressive sun. Insurgents. An ambush. Mitch curses, reaching back for his rifle, but before he can even bring it to bear, something impossible happens. The ring pulses again. A crimson flash that seems to emanate from my chest, from deeper than my chest, from some ancient place I never knew existed. Then, as if on cue, the insurgents freeze. Their vehicles slow to a crawl, and then come to a complete stop. The Jeep doors open, and the men exit mechanically like wind-up dolls. Fuck, 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 I roar, fumbling with my rifle, rational mind still trying to process the impossible, but they stand there, unmoving. They drop their guns like offerings. Slowly, their hands go to their heads, palms open. They're giving up. Every single one of them. Completely. Mitch gapes. What the fuck, Brady? My hand tightens around the glowing ring. The metal is hot enough to burn, but it feels right against my skin. Natural, like it has always belonged there. My gaze sweeps over the kneeling figures, and for a moment, just a moment, I see them not as men, but as cattle. As sacrifices laid out before an altar I am only beginning to understand. I think about the hospital, about the promise, about the sand between my toes and dreams that aren't dreams. What the fuck does their surrender even mean when I can feel their fear feeding something deep inside me? They're just trash. This is garbage duty. The phrase echoes in my mind, but now it carries weight I never felt before. They deserve nothing. They deserve to die. Every single one of them. My finger twitches on the trigger. The ring pulses, encouraging, hungry. But I stop myself. It's over. It's done. We can extract useful information from them, I reason. This isn't the same as defying the promise. This is strategy. The caravan is already diverting. The other soldiers, bewildered but efficient, move to secure the sudden compliant enemy. They take them as POWs. I watch them, my heart a cold, hard knot in my chest. No prisoners, I swore. No regrets. But this isn't about mercy. This is about utility. The ring delivered them, helpless, into our hands. A gift. Regardless, the brass will be pleased. And I will make sure those 30 lives serve a purpose. Some semblance of utility in their worthless existences. I think about the black dreams from the night before. I calculate an arithmetic of vengeance. It feels like coming home. The mess hall is still quieter than usual. A low hum of conversation, the clatter of trays. Early morning, the breakfast crowd thinning out. I push lukewarm eggs around my plate, trying to ignore the gnawing presence of the ring against my dog tags. That desert glow, the way it worked, still feels like a phantom limb. A memory that isn't quite real but leaves a raw, open wound. Rough night? A voice asks. It's Specialist Evans, a lanky kid from supplies sitting down across from me with his own tray. He looks as tired as I feel. I grunt. Yeah, you? He just nods, sipping his coffee. Heard about that caravan. 30 of them. Just laid down their arms. Wildest thing I ever heard. Yeah, I mumble. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about the feeling of that ring, the way it pulsed, the way those men just gave up. It feels too much like a trick. I get lucky a lot, but nobody gets lucky like that. With a thunderous bang, the mess hall doors explode inward. A young private, face ashen, stumbles in, sweat plastering his hair to his scalp, heaving for breath. The low hum of conversation flatlines. Every head snaps. "Riot!" he choked out, voice raw. POW prison, it's contained now, but... He doubles over, hands on his knees, sucking wind. A ripple, cold and fast, goes through the room. My gut clenches tight enough to bruise. The fresh batch. A sergeant is on him in a flash.
Report. What happened, Private?
Prisoners got a hold of weapons, sir. 3 personnel down. They killed them. The combatants are all neutralized now, sir. All of them. The private tries to stand straight, tries to look like a soldier, but his eyes are wild, darting. 3 personnel. My blood turns to ice. Mitch. He's supposed to be on prison duty today. I remember him bitching about it last night, how he'd rather be put out on patrol than babysitting those bastards. My mind races, trying to remember who he's covering for, if his shift started, or if... Who? The word rips out of me, sharp, cutting through the sudden, heavy silence. It doesn't sound like my voice. It comes down like a hammer, a command. The private's wide eyes fix on me, then flick to the sergeant. The sergeant's face is grim, already knowing. Who was killed? I demand louder, pushing myself from the table. The ring against my chest might frost over, burning against my skin with its cold. The sergeant clears his throat. His gaze meets mine, then drops. Sergeant Davies, Corporal Jenkins, Specialist Miller. Miller. Mitch. The world doesn't just tilt. It shatters. The clatter of trays, the smell of lukewarm eggs, the hushed whispers, it all becomes a distant, meaningless static. Mitch. Gone. My partner. My brother. Dead. Killed by the very trash we just captured. The ones who surrendered. The ones the ring made surrender. The ones I spared. I think about the woman who gave me the ring. I think about mercy and the blood that it spills. A coldness spreads through my chest, not just grief, but a terrible, burning clarity. A mistake. My mistake. I was given a gift to end them all, and I squandered it. I let them live, and now Mitch is dead. My fault. I think about the promise. I resolve to fulfill it to its fullest. My hooch is too still that night. I lie in my bed, staring at the rungs of Mitch's bunk. They haven't assigned me a new mate. I guess I have the hooch to myself. In my imagination, Mitch jeers. A private room. What a privilege, princess. Part of me is glad no one occupies his bunk. Another part of me wishes someone else would take up this empty space. I turn over and stare at the wall, following the random shapes in the concrete with my eyes. I want to sleep, to let this shitty day disappear, but even though I'm exhausted as hell, my mind won't let me slip away. There's too much noise in this silence. I take out the ring. It's an albatross now, slung heavy around my neck. I inspect the design on the signet, hoping to derive some kind of meaning from it as I think about that glow, the flash, the surrender. Is it just in my head? Was it just a flare of the desert sun? No, Mitch saw it too. Mitch freaked out, and I was with Mitch when one of our squads stepped on a landmine right in front of him, and he didn't freak out then, just shouted "fuck" and started shooting. The ring glowed. It was real. I'm not crazy. As if on cue, light emanates from the carved spaces of the signet. The band flashes hot, and the glow sweeps across the entire ring. Sirens blare into the night again. Then the ground shakes. A deep, guttural thump rattles the hooch, throwing me against the wall. The lights flicker, then die, plunging the room into absolute blackness. The sirens wail, louder now, frantic and shrill. This isn't another riot. This is an attack. I grab my rifle, the cold metal familiar in my trembling hands, and burst out of the hooch, joining the tide of shouting armed men flooding the halls, toward the sound, toward the breach. The chaos funnels us, a surging current of bodies and adrenaline until we spill out into the night, directly into the gaping maw of the breach. The wall is a raw, bleeding hole where the base's guts spill out. Insurgents pour through the opening, their forms silhouetted against the licking flames and the chaos of the base beyond. Muzzles wink crosses of light at us as soon as we emerge. The man beside me falls, screaming. I fire. I follow my training. Tight bursts. 3 insurgents crumple. But there are so many of them. I hear more screeches beside me, and over the chorus of gunfire, I think I hear bodies hit the floor, but I don't look. I don't have time to look. I don't have time to think. I don't have time to do anything but shoot. So I do. I manage to take cover behind one of the buildings. I don't hear the bark of orders, so I assume either the COs haven't made it yet or got shot already. Without a chain of command, it's every man for himself. Bullets pelt the corner of the building, flecking concrete into my eyes. I wait for the pause, then duck out and lay down, suppressing fire. The muzzle flashes blind me for a second, but I keep firing, spraying bullets in wide arcs, hoping to hit something, anything to keep their heads down. The ring beneath my shirt burns and vibrates. I feel it, a low thrum against my skin, a counterpoint to the frantic thud of my heart. The nearby shooting stops. Not just mine. Theirs. I peek around the corner of the building. The insurgents are still there. A dozen or so, frozen in place. Their rifles are on the ground, some still smoking. One of them has a nasty graze on his cheek, blood oozing, but he doesn't even seem to notice. He's just still, like the others. I put a hand to my chest. The ring oscillates beneath my clothes, a violent vibration, and I understand. I understand the gift I've been given. I understand why we were ambushed at the village. I understand how this works. They are trash. This is garbage duty. The phrase echoes in my head, but now it carries weight I never heard before. They deserve nothing. They deserve to die. Every single one of them. I walk coolly up to the first trash bag, press the lips of my rifle against his forehead, and blow him a kiss that splatters his brains on the ground behind him. He crumbles. So I move to the next one. And the next one. And the next one. I stop counting at 15. I execute them all. Slowly, the noise racking the bass dies. When they find me, I'm sitting on the ground, back against a wall, watching the breach and fingering the ring on my dog tag chain. The stale stench of old coffee and recycled air conditioning hangs in the spacious office. It's a stark contrast to the desert heat, or the acrid smoke still clinging to my uniform. General Sterling sits behind his polished desk, a man carved from stone and regulations. His eyes, sharp and intelligent, bore into mine. Beside him, Colonel Vance, younger, leaner, watches me with an almost predatory stillness. My own eyes feel like they miss nothing now. Everything is sharper. The dust motes dancing in the sliver of light from the window, the faint tremor of Sterling's hand as he sips the coffee, the way Vance clicks his pen and licks his lips before he speaks.
Specialist Brady?
General Sterling begins, his voice a low rumble like shifting gravel.
We're debriefing the breach. Your squad was positioned closest to the initial impact point. Give us your account.
I sit up straighter. The ring beneath my shirt is cool now. It's silent and heavy. It doesn't thrum, doesn't burn, doesn't do anything at all. Right now, it's just an oversized ring hanging by my dog tags. I clear my throat, and a calm, authoritative tone settles over my voice. It feels new, yet utterly natural, commanding attention. Sir, yes, sir, I say. Initial explosion brought the wall down. Insurgents poured through immediately. Heavy fire on entry. My squad engaged. Vance leans forward, pen poised.
Casualties?
Heavy, sir. My voice is steady. Solid. The rock of fucking Gibraltar. The initial wave was overwhelming. My men fought bravely. Specialist Ramirez, Corporal Chen, Private First Class Johnson, all fell in the first minute of engagement. We were outnumbered, outgunned. There is a pause as the weight of the loss sinks into the ugly air. I'm sure it's not the first time today they've heard a list of names that long. The wall clock feels so loud. It clicks its tongue disapprovingly, like it knows my secret, like it knows how I took out the trash. Sterling sets his coffee cup down with a soft clink. His gaze doesn't waver.
And you, Specialist? How did you hold the line then?
Reports indicate the breach was secured remarkably fast considering the initial penetration. And then there's the unusual kill count. The silence stretches, thick and heavy. Sterling doesn't look away. Vance's pen is still. They're waiting for me to squirm, waiting for me to break. I meet Sterling's gaze, my own eyes flat, unblinking. This is where the story begins. This is where I earn my keep. Sir, I assess the situation, I explain, my words flowing easily like water over smooth stone. Their initial push was disorganized, a mob relying on sheer numbers, but I've held the Distinguished Rifleman badge since basic, and my advanced combat training kicked in. I recognized the pattern. Instead of falling back, I ordered my remaining men to consolidate fire on the lead elements. We created a kill zone right at the breach. Focused, overwhelming fire. I describe the chaos, the smoke, the desperate fight. I talk about tactical maneuvers, about exploiting their weaknesses, about superior training and resolve. I paint a picture of a valiant, desperate stand against overwhelming odds where every bullet counts and every man fights to the last breath. I talk about instinct and seeing the battlefield, about making the hard calls, and about how I was lucky to be alive. I'm always just so lucky. I don't mention the sudden, impossible stillness. I don't mention the dropped weapons. I don't mention the mechanical movements. I don't mention the kneeling figures. I don't mention how I blew out their fucking brains one by one. The Grim Reaper with an AR-15. My voice is firm when I conclude. They broke, sir. Once their front line crumpled, the rest lost their will. We mowed them down as they tried to retreat, cleaned up the breach. Over 15 enemy combatants neutralized, no prisoners. Sterling leans back, his eyes still fixed on me. He glances at Vance, a quick, almost imperceptible flick of his gaze. Vance gives a tiny, almost imperceptible shake of his head. Sterling turns back to me, his expression unreadable.
Remarkable, Specialist,
Sterling says at last, his voice devoid of warmth, yet laced with something that sounds grudgingly like acceptance. He picks up a small velvet box. He rises from his chair, a slow, deliberate movement, and comes around the desk. Inside, a medal gleams. He pins it to my chest, his movements stiff, almost perfunctory. The metal feels lighter than it should. Lighter than the ring. The metal feels like a battle standard pinned to my chest, marking territory I've claimed in blood.
You'll be getting a commendation for this, Brady,
Vance adds, his pen finally clicking shut. His eyes are still sharp, but there's new, distant quality to them.
And a promotion is certainly in order. The reports, they speak for themselves.
I stand at attention, my gaze fixed straight ahead. Thank you, sir. Just doing my duty. But as I walk out of the office, the ring feels warm again. A pleasant warmth, a quiet hum. It feels like a secret, a shared understanding, and I know with perfect clarity, cool and clear like a tranquil pond, that this is just the beginning. I've gotten so many medals since then. I can't even remember which one this is now. The medal sits in its velvet case like a preserved bug. I open and close the container while I wait. 15 times for my coffee to cool. 30 times during the morning briefing. 45 times while reviewing intelligence reports. The clicking has become automatic, though I feel anything but nervous these days. Lieutenant Morrison from Intelligence leans against my desk, studying the growing collection of commendations on my wall. That's quite a display, Sergeant. Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Combat Infantry Badge. His voice trails off as he counts. How many is that now? Enough, I reply, not looking up from my paperwork. The casualty estimates for next week's operation seem to glow with their own inner light. Morrison chuckles, but it sounds forced. Come on, man. You gotta feel proud, all this recognition. I set down my pen and look at him directly. His face changes, color draining like someone pulled a plug. Something behind my eyes has shifted into focus. Something that sees Morrison not as a colleague, but as a potential problem requiring calculation and solution. Pride is inefficient, I say quietly. Results matter. Recognition is just documentation. Morrison steps back, his hand unconsciously moving toward his sidearm. Jesus, Brady, you're starting to sound like... Like what? Each word measured and weighed with surgical precision. Nothing. Never mind. He backs towards the door, movement sharp and nervous. Just take care of yourself, all right? I watch him leave, automatically counting. 45 steps to the exit, 3 more for the front door to close. The ring pulses against my chest, and I realize I've been unconsciously calculating his height, weight, and probable reaction time. Information that might prove useful. I return to my paperwork, the metal case clicking open and shut with metronomic regularity. Each commendation represents a victory, but victories feel less like achievements and more like steps. Incremental progress towards something that requires careful documentation and mathematical precision. 60 clicks later, I stop wondering and return to counting. The steak knife cuts through the meat like it's nothing. Clean. Efficient. The blood pools on the white porcelain, dark and rich, and I watch it for a moment before taking another bite. 3 months in the officer's mess and the food still amazes me. Real beef, seasoned potatoes, vegetables that aren't gray mush from a can. My appetite has grown with my rank. Everything about me has grown. The ring beneath my shirt pulses with familiar warmth, a steady rhythm against my sternum that's become as natural as my own heartbeat. It's still hungry, and so am I. I wipe my face with a napkin and burp. Fuck, that feels good. Better than anything Michelle used to cook. The thought of her catches me off guard. When did I stop thinking about home? When did her face become something I had to work to remember? I used to think about her a lot. I used to think about home. She stopped calling me because I always say I'm busy. She stopped writing letters because I never replied to them. The last letter sits unopened in my footlocker. I know what it says without reading it. More questions about when I'm coming home, more hurt confusion about why I never call back, more of that desperate love that feels like a noose around my neck from 7,000 miles away. Michelle belongs to a different life. A smaller life. A life that couldn't contain what I'm becoming.
Sergeant Brady?
I look up for my dinner, breaking away from my severed connections. 3 soldiers stand at attention beside my table. Martinez, Thompson, and Graves. All from last week's compound raid. All witnesses to what really happened in that back room with the high-value target. At ease. I gesture to the empty chairs around my table, noting how they exchange the same nervous glances I've grown accustomed to. Sit. They settle into the chairs with practiced caution. Word spreads quickly on a base like this. Everyone knows about the breach 3 months ago, but more importantly, they know about everything that's happened since. The pattern I've established. The results I deliver. How's the chow treating you boys? I ask, cutting another piece of steak. The knife slides through flesh and gristle with surgical precision.
Fine, Sergeant,
Martinez answers. He's got steady hands but nervous eyes, the kind that see too much and understand the wisdom of seeing less.
Congratulations on the intelligence breakthrough from last week's operation, sir.
Appreciate it. I chew slowly, letting the silence build like pressure behind a dam. Hell of a thing, getting that terrorist to talk so quickly. Thompson shifts in his seat. Former Marine, older than the others, with the kind of weathered pragmatism that usually makes men harder to rattle. But even he looks uncomfortable now.
Yes, sir. Very, very efficient interrogation techniques.
What exactly did you see in that room, soldier? The question hangs in the air like cordite smoke. Martinez glances at Thompson, then back to me. His Adam's apple bobs as he swallows hard.
Sir, the subject was uncooperative at first. Standard resistance, but then he just broke. Started talking, gave us everything. Safe house locations, weapon caches, the whole network.
Funny how that works, I say, reaching for my water glass. Stress does strange things to people. Makes them see things that aren't there. Hear things. Makes memory unreliable. I take a sip, watching them over the rim. Each man carries the same haunted look I've learned to recognize. The expression of someone who's witnessed something their rational mind can't process. But what matters, I continue, is results. Our reports show a successful interrogation using enhanced psychological pressure. Subject provided actionable intelligence leading to 15 confirmed kills and the destruction of a major supply route. Graves, who's been silent until now, leans forward slightly. He's got intelligent eyes, the dangerous kind that piece things together.
Sergeant, when you walked into that room, the target was defiant. Spitting, cursing. Swore he'd die before talking, but you just looked at him. And he started screaming.
Prisoners break. It's what they do.
But, Sergeant, he wasn't just talking. He was confessing things we didn't even ask about. Things from years ago. Personal shit, like something was pulling it out of him.
The ring flares hot against my skin. I can smell his fear. Sharp, acrid, animal. The same scent that filled that room when I touched the ring and watched a hardened terrorist crumble into a sobbing child, spilling secrets like blood from an opened vein. Graves, I say softly, my voice carrying the weight of 3 months' worth of impossible victories. Are you questioning my methods?
No, sir, I just...
Because if you are, that makes you my enemy. I lean back in my chair, my fingers finding the chain around my neck, touching the warm metal through my shirt. And you've seen what happens to my enemies. All of you have. The silence that follows is profound. Martinez has gone pale. Thompson's hands are clenched on the table, Graves stares at me with something like recognition flickering in his eyes. Not understanding, but awareness that he's looking at something wearing Brady's face while being something fundamentally other. We stick together, we all go home heroes, I add quietly. If we don't, well, you've seen what happens when we don't stick together. One by one they nod. Martinez first, quick and eager. Thompson next, reluctant but resigned. Finally, Graves, slow and deliberate, his nod carrying the weight of a man who understands he's crossed a line he can never uncross. Outstanding, gentlemen. Dismissed. They stand, salute, and file out. I watch them go, noting the way Martinez practically flees, how Thompson's shoulders carry new tension, how Graves glances back once more before disappearing through the doorway. 3 more converts to the doctrine of necessary silence. Alone again, I turn back to my steak. The meat has cooled, but my hunger burns hotter than ever. There's not enough. I cut larger pieces, swallow before the food is fully chewed. Michelle's face flickers through my mind again, pale and distant as a half-remembered dream. That life, her life, our life, feels like something I observed rather than lived. A story someone told me once about a man named Brady who cared about small things, like mortgage payments and anniversary dinners and whether his socks matched. The ring pulses once more, warm and approving against my sternum. This is just the beginning. Each operation brings new opportunities, new tests of what I can accomplish with the ancient power wrapped around my neck. I push back from the table, my appetite temporarily sated, but my hunger deeper than ever. The metal on my chest catches the fluorescent light. One of several now, a collection of official recognition for unofficial methods. But the real prize hangs hidden beneath my shirt, pulsing with patient hunger, feeding on my growing understanding of what I'm becoming. What we're becoming. The rank insignia on my collar feels like it's strangling me, even though it's just a piece of metal. My uniform, once a second skin, feels like a goddamn tourniquet around my gut. I grunt, tugging at the fabric, trying to get the buttons to meet without feeling like I was about to pop a seam. I'm fatter. No getting around it. The mess hall food, the endless steak and potatoes had packed on the pounds. I stare at myself in the mirror in my Choose bathroom. The man staring back isn't the Brady who shipped out. The soft jawline, the round cheeks, all the fat buried the sharp, gleaming eyes peering out of deep wells in my face. It's not just in my face. My fingers are kielbasas and my hands are like stuffed oven mitts. The men don't dare mention anything, though. I've got a reputation. By now, everyone calls me Sergeant Grimm. Never to my face, but I know. I hear so much these days, see so much, feel so much. Nothing escapes me. No one escapes me. The ring beneath my shirt pulses against my sternum with a low thrum. It alternates with my heartbeat like a slipknot drumbeat.
Sergeant Brady, Alpha Company is forming up.
ETA 5 mics. A voice yells from outside, muffled by the canvas. On my way, I bark back, forcing the last button closed with a groan. Another impossible assault. That's what the intel says. Overwhelming odds, entrenched positions, a fortified compound that had already chewed up 2 platoons like bubblegum that's lost its flavor. But I know better. I know what I brought to the fight. I finger the ring through the slight gap in my uniform's buttons. I remember the last time I tried to delegate. Sat back in the talk, watching the drone feeds, letting Captain Fredrickson lead the charge. He was a good man, by the book, but the enemy didn't break. They fought. Fredrickson's men were devoured. We took the heaviest casualties of any assault in the war, and the objective was a bust. That's when I knew. This power, this thing wrapped around my neck, it needs me. It's not a remote control. It's a conduit. I have to be there, have to feel the dust in my teeth, the blood in my nostrils, have to lick the enemy's fear like a popsicle on a hot day. The ancient standard needs to be carried into battle. I grab my rifle and step out into the heat, the sun already baking the ground. I'm used to it now. It feels like home. Grim-faced men line up before me. I can sense their unease, but I see a flicker in their eyes. A lot of it's fear. They've talked. They're not stupid. They know the odds. But there's something else, too. Respect. A reluctant trust in the impossible. They've seen what happens. They know the pattern. All right, listen up, I roar, my voice cutting through the pre-dawn quiet like a firecracker. This isn't going to be pretty. They're dug in. They think they're untouchable, but we're going to remind them who the fuck they're dealing with. The solid wall of hoorah they bark makes me grin a little. I think about the promise. I haven't forgotten it. These boys are gonna fuck those trash bags up. The Humvees rumble to life. I climb into the lead vehicle, the ring warming the space between my burgeoning tits. It sends a low vibration through my ribs. It's time. As the sun spits fire into the black horizon, bullets whiz past my Humvee. They kick up dust and ping off the armored hull. The specialist behind the wheel cusses loudly, swerving as an RPG hurtles by like a red-tailed comet. It crashes into the Humvee behind us, sending it into the air and bouncing off the ground. I throw open the door. Go, go, go! We hit the dirt. My men pour out, laying down suppressing fire, moving like ghosts through the chaos. But the enemy fire is relentless. We're pinned. This is the moment when most outfits would break, fall apart, call for air support, but I don't. I reach inside my uniform, my fingers closing around the ring. There's a shift in the air, like the changing of pressure before the rain. The hostile gunfire sputters like it's uncertain. It's subtle. You can barely notice it, but I can. I know what I'm looking for. Then, enemy fire from the compound stops. Abruptly. Completely. Silence descends, broken only by the panting of the men beside me and the footsteps of the men behind me. I shoulder my rifle and peer through the scope. Enemy combatants. Dozens of them emerge from their positions. Not fighting, not retreating. Walking out into the open, dropping their weapons. They kneel. Most of my men have seen this before, but some FNGs have never gone on assault with me. One of them approaches me from behind and whispers, "What the fuck, Sergeant?" I don't answer. I'm too busy studying the kneeling trash bags. All right, boys. Garbage duty. The ring throbs. No prisoners. No regrets. I raise my rifle. The first shot is clean. The rest followed. Food tastes different now. Richer. More complex. Like my tongue can detect flavors that didn't exist before. I sit alone in the officer's mess, methodically working through my third serving. Around me, conversations flow in predictable patterns. Bitching about supply delays, speculation about deployment extensions, nervous jokes about enemy capabilities. I catalog each voice, each laugh, filing them away in mental categories that feel increasingly administrative. Captain Rodriguez slides into the seat across from me, his tray barely touched. "Christ, Brady, where the hell you put it all?" I look up from my plate. Meatloaf, mashed potatoes, green beans arranged in precise geometric patterns, and offer a smile that sits strangely on my full face. Stress eating, I guess. All the responsibility. Rodriguez nods, but his eyes carry that same wariness I've learned to recognize. The look of prey, sensing predator, but not knowing where the threat originates. Speaking of responsibility, he leans forward, lowering his voice. Word from Division is they want to study your interrogation techniques. See if what you're doing can be systematized. The ring flares hot against my chest. For a moment, the mess hall lights flicker in rhythm with my heartbeat. Some methods don't translate to classroom instruction. I repeat the phrase that I said so long ago. Personal touch. Right, but the results speak for themselves. I cut another piece of meatloaf, noting its weight and density with mathematical precision. 45 high-value targets processed, 0 resistance beyond initial contact, intelligence quality rated exceptional across all parameters. Rodriguez stares. How the fuck you remember all those numbers? I pause, fork halfway to my mouth. I don't remember learning the statistics. They simply exist in my mind like fundamental constants, reliable as gravity. Details matter, I say finally. Yeah, but... He shakes his head, stands abruptly. Never mind. Just be careful, all right? Some of the guys are talking. About what? The question emerges with such flat intensity that Rodriguez actually flinches. Other conversations seem to quiet, as if the entire mess hall has become aware of our exchange. Nothing specific. Just you've changed, Brady. We all have, but you... He abandons his tray. Take care. I watch him retreat. 45 steps to the exit, 3 seconds for the door, 15 more before complete visual separation. Information files itself automatically, joining the growing catalog of behavioral patterns, threat assessments, tactical considerations that expand my consciousness like ripples in a pond. The ring pulses warmly, and I realize I've stopped thinking of my colleagues as people. They are variables. Components in an equation that grows more complex and satisfying each day. I return to my meal. I savor flavors that taste like victory. The desert wind, usually a biting whip, feels like a caress today. It carries the faint tang of formaldehyde and scorched earth. Another funeral. Another row of flag-draped coffins. It's been years since Mitch died. Years since the ring found me. Years since I started carving a new path through this godforsaken sand pit. The faces on the photos at the front are young, mostly. Some I know well, others only by name. They are good men, brave men, and they are dead. My uniform is tighter than ever. Not just the gut, which has expanded into a formidable shelf, but everywhere. My chest feels broader, shoulders thicker, like the bones themselves are growing denser. My hands, swollen and clumsy, feel strangely powerful yet unwieldy for the delicate movements of saluting. I'm not just bigger in body. I'm a captain now. Soon I'll be a major. There's no stopping me. The stories of my legendary assaults ripple through the base like whiskey shivers, and I think about the promise as the chaplain's voice drones on about sacrifice, honor, and God's plan. They're empty fucking words. I know the real plan. I know the real sacrifice. Each coffin marks a mile closer to the promise. I think of Mitch, and I hope he's proud. No prisoners, no regret. I've kept up my end. But looking at the sheer number of these coffins, a taste like the bottom dregs of mess hall coffee floods my mouth. We win. We goddamned crush them. These boys still die. This war is a festering wound that refuses to close. The chaplain finishes, and taps echoes across the base. I slip the ring off its chain. The metal is massive, inscribed with those ancient swirling symbols, the snake coiled around the lance, waiting. I look at my right hand, the fingers thick and blunt, the knuckles swollen. Slowly, deliberately, I push the ring onto my finger. It almost fits.
Thank you for sharing my nightmares and helping me carry the grief. If you enjoyed the story, please share your favorite nightmare with a friend or family member, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. If you want to go deeper, ever wondered what your favorite story reveals about your psychology? I offer story shadow readings where I analyze what your chosen narrative says about your inner patterns and growth edges. I also do psychological tarot readings focused on shadow work and pattern recognition rather than predictions. Links to both services are in the description if you're curious about what insights might emerge. For ongoing support, you can find me on Patreon or buy my books on Amazon. I've linked to both in the description. You can connect with me on Instagram or Threads at Nightmares and Grief. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Good night.